Hi there, it's Louise here of Timeless Craft Mama, and today I'm sharing a scrapbook layout process video with you that I created for Off the Rails scrapbooking, inspired by one of the July mood boards. There's 2 this month, so hopefully you'll get a chance to play along. I've titled my layout Hello Happy. Now I'm going to admit right off the bat, this was a challenge for me. So what I've done is I've gone through my stash and I've pulled out some of the pastel kind of colours, and I don't normally work with pastels. I'm much more of a brights person, so this was what the challenge was, and I'm really happy with the layout. I'm quite pleased that I got outside my comfort zone and created something a little bit different. So I'm just taking some white cardstock and applying some gesso, and I'm going to let that dry naturally just because I'm going to add some layers and some elements to this particular page. So the first one is the Distress Crayon, which I'm going to water down to give it that nice sort of pastel look. And the reason I applied it with my finger first was I just wanted to check the colour. So before I started to soak that up, I wanted to know if I needed to add more water. So I was quite happy with the colour, and I'm going to go ahead and just spread that around with the foam and using this Starburst stencil. Now, I've gone most of the way into the center of the stencil, even though I knew I was going to cover that up. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's, simply just a base or a background for this particular layout as we start to build some layers. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this glass bead gel and I'm going to apply that through another stencil. Now this stuff is really cool. If you have not used it before, get your hands on some, because if you've had a look at the close-up of this layout, you'll see that it has a really cool texture. So you have to apply it quite thick through the stencil to get the dried effect, and for me, I like to let my stuff dry naturally. So you'll see in this particular slide that it's dried, and the gel medium that's inside of it has sort of disappeared into the background, and you get this really cool glass bead look, and then you apply the colour over the top of it, and it's really quite fun to use and to play with and to experiment. And that's what I've done on this layout. I initially started by thinking that I wanted to use the packaging technique over that glass bead gel, but then it just wasn't colouring the way I wanted it to. So I'm sponging some of that colour away, and I'm simply going to just use a paintbrush to spread some colour around and spritz a bit of water here and there. And you can sort of see as I'm applying that colour how the glass bead gel sort of pops right off the page with that colour in the background. So really fun to use. Definitely try and get your hands on some if you can. I've used the Liquitex brand. There is a Faber-Castell one as well. I haven't personally used it, but happy to hear from somebody who has used it and to see how they found the process. Now when I started this layout, it certainly wasn't the idea that I'd had in my head for completing this page. I went into it knowing that I wanted to use these pastel watercolours because they were the most pastel thing that I had in my stash, and I've pulled out these papers and chosen a 5x7 photo to use in this particular case, just because I haven't done one for a while. So the album's got lots of littler photos, and I just love this photo. It's such a cute one of Master Z, so I thought, why not do it in a 5x7. Now with these little Polaroid, what do you call them? Frames, Polaroid frames. So with the Polaroid frames, I knew that I wanted to run them in a line, and that's what I'm going to work on now. So I'm going to lay the layout out now that it's dry, because again, this was not one that I had in my head how it was going to turn out. So it's simply, all I'm doing is just having a play with some papers and working out what I'm happy with and what I want to move and what I want to change, and I end up with a final result that's completely outside of the spectrum of what I would normally create. Now, I am also not a fussy cutter. There are some fabulous scrappers out there that can really just dominate with fussy cutting. I'm a terrible fussy cutter. I don't know why. I don't think I have the patience. So I have actually done some fussy cutting with those butterflies. Butterflies seem to be very on trend at the moment, so I've gone ahead and fussy cut some butterflies from that paper that I'd picked out of my stash. Now, also one of the things that I'm really loving using at the moment is doilies. So of course one is going to feature on this particular page. So I've popped that doily behind the photo, and I'm also going to mount that onto some more paper that's got a watercolour sort of feel. Even though you lose the effect of that paper behind the photo, mounting is something that I think really adds to a layout, so I do it whether you can see the paper or not. So we are working on this layout, and at the moment, I'm sort of happy, and I'm working on the photo. I know where the photo is going to go. I know how I'm going to title the page, but apart from that, I'm really sort of looking at the background and I'm thinking, wow, what else am I going to do here? It's kind of pastel, but it doesn't work. It's not really pleasing to the eye. So I go away, I have a think about it, come back, do a little bit more here and there, play with a few things, and simply just move things around on the page until I'm happy with the layout. So what I ended up doing was, because the stencil hadn't gone all the way to the edge of the cardstock, rather than trim it, I'm just taking this Arrow Love washi tape, which is in kind of a pale grey, so it adds a border to the page without overpowering that pastel colour. So not something that I would normally do to border a page with washi tape, but I'm really quite pleased with how it sort of turns this layout into an actual page. Now, because of the mediums that I've got on here, I am just gluing down some of that washi just to make sure that it's going to hold over that glass bead gel as well. Now, I haven't had a play with flowers for a little while. I've been trying to do layouts without relying on flowers to embellish. So what I thought with this one, because it was nice and pastel, I thought I'll pull out some flowers and I'll see what I've got in my stash, lay them out on the page and just see how I feel about this particular layout. I also liked the lace because I felt like the white was going to sort of help break up that background a little bit. On the Hello Happy Polaroid there, you'll also see I've got a wood veneer word and a Charms Creation Hessian heart there as well. Now, I was starting to like how the flowers were looking with the heart, and I'm popping some butterflies on and just fiddling around a little bit, and then I've decided to add some cheesecloth there as well. So I really think the cheesecloth enhances the cluster and the great detail that I've got going on. So I'm just going to apply all those elements with some matte gel just so that they're stuck down on the page, and starting to work on the final product of this layout. So hopefully by the time you're getting to this process video of my share on Off the Rails, you've seen some of the other layouts that the DT have put together. And I think that there really is something for everybody this month as far as inspiration is concerned. There's a great, more masculine mood board there as well that would be so much fun to play with if you wanted something like that for inspiration. There's this pastels, which is, again, not something I would personally pick, and I think that's probably a lot to do with the fact that I don't do a lot of feminine type layouts because I mostly scrap my little dudes. So I think that that sort of leads me to use different sorts of colours. But as I said in the beginning, I'm really quite pleased with the final result, and I love how this is going to look in the album when they're flicking through and seeing this, vibrant black and white picture with this beautiful pastel layout around the outside. So I'm really pleased with the final result, and I'm hopeful that you are enjoying this video and will get a chance to play along with us at Off the Rails Scrapbooking. So to finish this layout, I am having a look at some chipboard pieces. I don't sort of add too much more. What I did notice was that to the right hand side where that doily is poking out, it felt a little off balance to me. It didn't really feel like I had quite the right, elements around the page. It looked a bit bare. So I've pulled out a few items from my stash, and I end up just popping some journaling and a little inspiration quote in there, just to finish this layout off. It didn't need much, it just needed a tiny little touch. So it's of course smile always to highlight the fact that this is a happy moment and a smiley happy little boy, which is so much fun to remember. Final touches are going on now, a little bit of journaling to add towards the end of the layout, and then this particular page is done. So I really feel like I'm definitely going to have to play around with a couple more pastel type pages. I've enjoyed this. I think now that I've done Master Z's twin page, I should go ahead and do one for his brother. So I will probably produce another layout similar for Master C. A little bit of journaling to record the name and age so that this one can go in the right album, and the final product for your viewing. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for visiting. Don't forget to subscribe and check out Off the Rails Scrapbooking.